rewiring your words, rewiring your thoughts, rewiring your brain. We welcome today a very special lady, Victoria Burcea, who is one of our newest PWT mentor expert and 1 million woman challenge activator. So we are super excited. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be part of this project as well.
I know you came onto our Prime Living show and it just blew up. People loved it. The entire brain, how it works during midlife, and how you can rewire it in your words and thoughts is absolutely top of everyone's mind. Can you tell us a little bit more about your practice? You're the founder of Recreo Health, and tell us all about the incredible work you're doing.
Sure. So my company name is myrecreo.health, and Recreo is the Latin word for regenerate, revive, restart, refresh, because I believe and I know that we can do that at any age. A little bit of my backstory: about 14 years ago, I was working really intense corporate job and I had a total burnout. Oh, wow. So much so that my body was paralyzed. My nervous system was basically saying, you need to stop. And I had to stop because my nervous system and my brain made me stop. And I rebuilt myself from the ground up. And I don't want what happened to me to happen to any woman. And it's really prevalent in women in midlife. And when I say midlife, I mean 40 to 80, right? There's a lot going on in this broad range of our active years as women. And that's how my business...
that period of time, before we go too far, we tend to dismiss it and we tend to self-diagnose, right? Always midlife, always hormones, always, and we just like work through it. And as you said, if we don't listen to our body will shut us down.
That's right. I love how you said we tend to self-diagnose and dismiss. So usually when we self-diagnose, we're probably right, to be honest, because our gut, our instinct is there for a reason, right? Listen to your inner voice. It's giving you messages you need to hear. But here's the problem. We say something's wrong with me, or we become aware of it, but we dismiss it. Instead of searching out for ways that we can manage, ways that we can feel better. Instead, we dismiss and we cope. And coping isn't a way to live.
And I love what you just said. We say, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Opposite to what message is my body sending me? That's
right.
Right? There's a self-judgment. Like it's happening at a time where, maybe you've gained a little bit of weight. Maybe, your hormones are like having a fireworks celebration inside your body. But there's such a cultural negative connotation that must go away. And I love the work you're doing because you're pioneering that shift.
Well, thank you so much. And I agree. There's a cultural, societal, even in our wellness system and our medical system, women are often dismissed as like, oh, that's normal. That's just part of aging. Anything from brain fog all the way to physical things like heat flashes, tinnitus. These are perimenopause symptoms, but a lot of these symptoms will stay with us past perimenopause. And we're also told that once menopause happens, everything goes back to normal, or that's just the way it is. No. A change has happened in your body, and that change stays with you for the rest of your life.
Right.
So we shouldn't be telling ourselves for 45 years, we just have to deal with it and dismiss it. And so advocating to be seen, to be heard, to be valued is really important as women. And it's a really great time right now because there are new studies happening. There are studies actually happening on women that we're starting to catch up, but we're starting to catch up. And we need to really, really move the pendulum forward. So yeah, so I agree with you.
What surprises? Well, thank you. What surprises you the most when you first meet your clients about the self-judgment. I'm really concerned about that. Because yes, we want to change culture, but it's not an exterior, an external origin of that shift. It begins with every single woman, I think.
Yeah. I think that there's a couple things that surprised me the most, but the thing that surprises me the most when I first started being a longevity and wellness coach for women over 40 is how many women mask themselves as being strong, and their inner voice is all about, I'm weak, I'm not good enough.
Or
They
I'm
really judge
exhausted.
themselves inside, and it's really constant, and we feel like we're the only person that feels that way, and we judge ourselves. So we're afraid to talk about it because we're afraid we're gonna lose our job or lose respect or lose integrity or not be valued anymore. And so that part is really, really shocking when you meet people that are like CEOs or running a charitable organization and they feel this way. A lot of women feel this way, and we need to talk about it more. The other thing that really surprises me is the response of, well, it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference between something being statistically normal, because the numbers say the majority of people feel this way, and being normal. And we use that word normal too much. Well, every woman over 40 experiences heat flash and memory loss and whatever. So just deal with it because it's normal.
Well,
Because
it
it's
may be normal to feel it,
normal
but not.
doesn't mean we have to live with it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly that. It may be normal that, oh, okay, so you've entered this stage of your life, but it's not normal to accept it.
That's
Do you know
right.
what I mean? Is
That's exactly right. Yeah. We're saying it's statistically normal. We know statistically, women between 40 and 70 have the highest rate of anxiety, depression, and even suicide.
oh goodness.
Statistically, and that correlates with what's going on in our lives after 40, right? But that doesn't mean that normal is okay. We use the word normal as if it's okay. Just accept it. It's because it's statistically normal, because the numbers say that the majority of people, does not mean we need to grin and bear it or deal with it. And there's a difference between coping and managing. And the other thing is, it's really scary. And there's
Well,
really
I was just going to say that. Do you remember when you were a teenager and there was this really, you were brewing, percolating inside your body, like you were tired and angry and drama and you just wanted to cry? It's like you were
your
a ticking
hormones
time
are
bomb.
figuring it out.
You were a ticking time bomb, right? Well, the same thing happens during midlife. Like you're literally changing from the inside out. You're becoming a new person.
Yep.
So it's not about regulating it because you can't stop it.
That's right. And this is one of the things, we keep judging ourselves and saying, I need to be stronger. I'm not strong enough. I don't have enough willpower. What's wrong with me? And we need to flip the switch, because it's not about being stronger or having more willpower. It's about determining what's draining you and then managing it. So whether it's a biological need, a physiological need, a mental need, an emotional need, figure out what it is that's causing you to feel this way, and then find ways to manage it. You don't need to be stronger. You don't need to keep scrolling through social media to find quick fixes. You just need the right tools, the right advice, and advice that isn't outdated, because there's so much new information now, and we need to fight against what is outdated. And unfortunately, a lot of doctors, a lot of wellness providers have outdated information about what is happening to women in midlife, and we need to update it. And we need,
you know what? It's not about plowing, like learn to plow through the pain. Like, what kind of messaging is that? You know, the reality is that, you know, I was watching a mini documentary on even entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
Why is really more successful for men than women?
Interesting.
Not as an absolute, but in general, because entrepreneurship, or so the documentary said, requires that humming every day, constant, constant, constant. And men's hormones and system seems to match that constant, 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 right? But women are cyclical. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's going to be super high, sometimes it's going to be super low. And that's just the natural flow of hormones and systems that make women women, right? So in business, when you're dealing with the highest highs and the lowest low, you're still supposed to show up constant. When you don't feel that way, you go
Yeah.
from hero to zero. I don't know if you experience that. You're
Oh yeah, of
younger than,
course.
and that's what
Every woman
you go from
experiences
zero
this.
to hero
Yes.
to zero to hero, and it's just like, you know you can get whiplash out of the ups and downs and ups and downs. And we are the ones that understand and have the skill set. Imagine if you don't, or
Well,
imagine if you don't have a
I
support
didn't.
system.
And then I had a total burnout and my body was physically paralyzed for 8 hours. My neurological system shut down. And I think one of the biggest things, I call it knowledge of knowledge. If you can feed yourself, I'm not saying go take a 6-month long course, but you need to feed yourself. And this is a lot of what I do, is kind of drip feeding my clients and my members information about how your brain and how your body works, how your hormones work. And you learn a little bit each week. Once you know what's going on with yourself, physiologically, emotionally, mentally, you will easily and naturally make better choices. And that's not coping, that's managing. Once you give yourself all that information, here's the thing, your subconscious brain carries all your information from your entire life, right? And the thing is, it's in control 99% of the time, whether you want to believe it or not. When I got up this morning, I put my deodorant on in my left armpit. I didn't consciously go, oh, I'm going to pick up my deodorant with my right hand and put it into my left armpit. My subconscious brain created that pattern for me, right? And so the more information we know about how we work, how our brain works, how our hormones work, how our nervous system works, the more we can start to feel more in control, because it really is a time in life when we feel out of control, right? The more we can start to feel more in control, the more knowledge we have of ourselves, the more empowered we are.
And so it feels as if everything's betraying you.
Yeah.
Like your body's betraying you, your mind's betraying you. I remember going to a party, more than one, but this particular party. And this lady, whom was a guest of the host, so nobody I knew, and we were just like gathering food at the snack station. And she begins to share that she began to excuse herself for having a hot flash. I guess she was having a hot flash on the spot. And she began to just disclose that, her libido is being affected, and how that's affecting her relationship. And she was almost in tears. And it's like, this is like a random stranger, right? But this is how frustrating, and I love that you use that word, like how frustrating is even for you to begin to understand what's going on, never mind being able to articulate what you need, what kind of support do you need from your loved ones and from your systems,
From
and
anyone, from your
friends,
loved
right?
ones, from your workplace, from your doctor, right? So the more knowledge you have, the more you start to take your power back. And
Yeah.
there's two things I want to say about that. Is we as women thrive on connection. And if we don't have a place where we feel it's not even about feeling safe, we don't have a place to discuss it and let it out, we will let it out with a stranger at the buffet table, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is we need to be careful about the language we use around these things. So, and this kind of leads into my coloring book. we need to be careful about the language we use around these things, because we're using this language that's sending signals to our brain without even knowing that we're doing it. So we're saying things like, my body is betraying me. You're telling your brain, my body's the enemy. We're saying, I feel like I've lost power. Like when you say my body's betraying me, you're saying I don't have enough power over myself anymore. Instead of saying like things like, this is actually a really interesting time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really great things happening in your brain after 40, in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. There's a lot
or
of
having a positive dialogue. I love what you just said, right? Like if you feel your body, because your body talks to you all the time, you just need to listen, right? And by talking, I mean, like you may, I find outdoor gardening a little bit harder over here, right?
Mhm.
And things that I used to be able to do in 3 hours, now it takes me 4 or 5, or I need to do it take breaks in between. And that's where the conversation, I feel that pull. You know what? Let's just be gentler.
Let's be gentler, and let's change our language around it too, because language is one of the number one things that programs our brain, how it's going to guide your actions, attitudes, behaviors, and choices. And language is actually one of the most powerful tools that we have. And when we start saying, I'm too tired, I took too long, that language turns into judgment, or we're using words that are really framing our experience in a way that kind of ignores the experience. Right? Like there are things happening during the experience that are powerful.
What would be an example of the proper self-talk in that situation? Because I thought by saying, like, I felt that. Let's just take it easy. You're saying there's a better way.
I think like, I like what you're saying about like, let's take it easy. Let's be kind to ourselves. But the thought that comes before that, right?
Ouch.
We usually have a thought first, and then we self-correct, right? We're usually like, oh my God, I'm old. Why is this happening?
Or why is every year harder?
Why is every year harder? Right? Meet yourself where you're at. And yes, acknowledge that these changes aren't easy. I'm not saying it's all a walk in the park. That's not what I'm saying, because let's acknowledge that it's not. But we need to get the information about what is actually really powerful. So there's actually something really powerful happening in midlife in your brain. It's called neural pruning. And when when our estrogen goes down, our brain goes, I'm going to get rid of the neural pathways that aren't important anymore. So have you ever like spoken to someone
in your wardrobe?
When you hit 40, you're like, yeah, 40 is great because I stopped caring about certain things. That's literally a physiological thing happening in your brain. But we don't talk about how awesome that is. Instead, we talk about how
we worry about it.
Frustrating time in life.
Yeah, or we worry about it
happening. Yeah. So this is a time of life. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, tell us about Rewire Your Words. Like your book is absolutely brilliant, and we're time, right? I could speak to you all day. Yeah. But tell us, and we will. Tell us about you're an activator for our 1 Million Woman Challenge. You're a mentor expert. You're a speaker at our upcoming Prime Living event in September. We're so excited. And more than a speaker, you're like a facilitator of brilliant things. But tell us about your book. You're offering $20 off. So it's regular $27. So your empowerment of women is saving $20. Can you believe that? Tell us about how you rewire your words through your book, and why did you design it the way you did?
Yeah. So this is a time of life, because of that neural pruning, that we can actually rewire things in our brain. That's one of the powers of what's happening now. Our brain is more open to being rewired. Everything you do, your thought patterns, your physical patterns, everything you do literally has nerve cells creating a pathway in your brain that make that happen, right? Those are your habits. Your thought patterns are habits. How you think about yourself are habits. And coloring, there's been tons and tons of studies done on coloring and how it helps the brain to actually use active learning. It forces engagement through tactile, visual, physical, spatial processes rather than just passive reading. Mm-hmm. And so I designed this coloring book specifically for adults, specifically for women, to help you rewire that inner monologue, because that is one of the things that is kind of the starting point, or the biggest things, is quieting the inner monologue, getting rid of worry. Worry is a big one. The overthinking, the burnout. Brain fog goes in there too, right? Because brain fog can cause the overthinking, the overworrying, all of these things that are happening in midlife. And just by the process of coloring in these beautiful pages, you will start to reframe and rewire your words. Now,
and there's messaging in them as well.
That's
it's not
right.
just the coloring. It's
not just a beautiful flower that you color in. There are words woven into each coloring sheet. And these words that I've used are called the wonder words. And they're actually words that have been studied for that motivate English speakers' minds. So I'm using the English wonder words that actually motivate our minds, our brains. They can release a dopamine, they can release the serotonin. And so the first few pages are each word. So you learn each word and you can memorize each word, because if you actually just use these words in your daily vocabulary, it's helpful too. And then the last section of the book is actual affirmations. But these affirmations, we've been doing them wrong. So there's studies around when you do an affirmation, we've all been taught to say, I am this, right? I am strong. I am this.
Yeah,
what actually happens when you start a statement with I am, studies have shown that your brain fights back if you don't actually believe it. So we're trying to talk to ourselves in ways to change our belief systems, right? And we're actually, it's actually backfiring, because we're going, I am strong. And then your brain's going, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going, yes, I am. And then, right? So there's ways to actually word these affirmations that are science-backed, that are brain-based, to actually rewire your thought patterns. And when you add in doing it through coloring and creativity, anytime our brain is in a creative state, it's more open to being reprogrammed and more open to believing. And that's how this book is designed. And it's designed specifically so that you can start to feel more in control, feel calmer, just through the act of coloring in the pages. It's pretty awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So your gift to the world is can you believe that? $20 off.
That's right.
So for $7, you're getting this incredible introduction to Victoria's work. And absolutely, she's in our magazines. She's coming back. She's going to be all over, because her work is fabulous. So thank you, Victoria. I appreciate you. And I encourage everyone to connect with you, Facebook or LinkedIn, and follow her work, and follow us, of course. Follow her work, and absolutely inspire others. So if this message resonated with you, or you know someone that this message could, completely bring respite to however they're feeling, and a bit of hope, or just you've tried everything and now this is one more new thing to try, absolutely keep on trying until you find what feels right.
That's right. Find what works for you. That's right.
That's right. Yeah. So thank you, Victoria. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, we'll put the link below where you can access and get your coloring book. And
get your coloring book right away. It is a download, so it's $7. You get access to it right away. It will be published in the future as a hard copy, but you're going to be able to get it, download it, start coloring something.
And PWT Publishing is right there, making that book into a hard copy. So thank you, everyone, and until next time.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.